All right, everyone. This is going to be a quick little 5-minute video. Maybe, you know how it goes around here. Just wanted to kind of go over, rehash out some things, talk about some stuff that are on the table, and some things that are coming to the channel here in the future. It's taking a little bit longer. I've been kind of getting some things together, trying to source some stuff, and kind of been going back and forth, trying to debate on what it exactly that I want to do. So part of that's going to be studs. So I've been thinking about getting head studs. At some point, that's probably going to end up happening. But for now, let's just talk about the table, and then we'll talk about things coming up in the future. So, all right, so quite a bit of stuff on here. This kind of highlights, like, I guess, current project, winter, and then what's eventually going to be happening after that. So, some of you guys might remember from before. A good friend of mine hooked me up with this. I already have an R6 shock, but this actually has the correct, like, I think it's a Race Tech spring with the collar adapter and everything. So at some point, I'll probably look at installing that. Excited about that one. But it's going to be a little bit, I think, before I get that, because I've got some other stuff to do, obviously. This is the cushions. They go for the rear, right? This actually is for, I think, a Yamaha? Nope, Kawasaki. And the original ones, they're small. They're actually a lot smaller than this. They're not interconnected like this either. And they do go bad. The Cush dry bushings, I think is what they are. They do go bad after a while. These are solid. And I don't remember. I think it was a guy that was riding a adventure version that first discovered these. So, all credit goes to that guy. I don't know his name. You'll probably have to just look it up. But these are apparently just a fantastic drop-in. You don't have to do all kinds of crazy stuff. At one point, I had been looking into something, and I kind of gave up, to be honest. And then along came this post that talked about these. So I'll hold that up so you can get the part number. Just pause it, whatever. And then that'll solve all your problems with that. While I have everything apart, I am going to pull my thermostat, or not thermostat, water pump, and this is the seal for it. These are just eBay pipes, which I already technically have, but doing a bunch of work, I'm gonna go ahead and replace it anyways. It's been the ones I have on there are pretty old, actually. And then this is the 450 water pump impeller. So it is a little tall from my understanding. You have to kind of clean it up a little bit, but it fits perfectly with what you need. And aluminum, apparently these flow pretty well. I've never seen any test that will actually support that. However, I know that you do have to trim the blades down, and from what I remember, the OEM blades, they are way smaller than this, so I would imagine that they actually do flow quite well. But that'll be in the future. That's going to be at the same time that all this stuff gets done. Moving over to here, this is still happening. As you can see, this is the big bore kit that I've been talking about. I'm waiting on some stuff in addition to this, but as I mentioned before, studs at some point. I'm going to get studs for this. One thing that I'm considering is checking to see about doing a fire ring, which I will explain more here in a second. This is my other head that I own. So technically this is number 2. The one on my bike is number 1. And hopefully in a month I'll have number 3, which I'll explain here in a little. Okay, miscellaneous hardware, software. So seals, right? This is for top of the valve cover, replacing all this stuff, right? Valve stem seals. We'll see. I mean, I'm assuming the valve stem seals that are in the other one are probably good, so nothing, no big deal for that. This is for tensioner. I definitely replace that. That's old on my current setup. And I want to say that's it. So that kind of leads me into the next discussion. So here in about a month, I will actually have 3 heads. I will have 3 sets of different cams and enough valve train to fill all 3 technically. So my goal or plan, I'm going to install OEM valves and OEM cams in this one. I have my other one that has the gray area KTM valves in it with Daniel Crowler Racing cams in it. This was the cam spec on it. And the company that actually makes this kit, I've been talking with them and working with those guys to figure out, what I can do in addition to what I'm working on. They actually sell a head, and that comes with 1mm larger valves. Their stage 3 high lift cam, which there's no specs on that. I have no idea what that means. I'm assuming it has much higher lift. Yeah, so I'm assuming based on that, it's going to have higher lift. Now, the only thing I don't know is about duration. So this being from the DCR cam spec, the main thing that it pitches is increased duration. So as you see it on here, it's got 0.05 more. And the lift, it actually really is not that much for lobe lift. In fact, I was kind of questioning because when I compared it to the OEM cams, it actually kind of looked like the lobes were a lot smaller. And I actually ended up having to use a much bigger shim than I was previously. So that kind of made me think that the lift on these are way smaller. It's kind of hard to find specs on the OEM cam setup, but based on what I could find, these were actually slightly smaller compared to the other ones. So I don't know. I'm interested to see between the DCR cams, the OEM cams, and the NMW cams. If I were to take a bet, I would say that the ones that I'm getting pretty soon are probably going to be much better in terms of flow, just based on lift. Because if you actually look at the DCR cam website and look at the spec, they've changed the spec of the cam since when I purchased these. It has still the increased duration, but they increased the lift up to 0.270. So obviously they saw that what they originally spec'd was not high enough. So that kind of makes me think that these aren't flowing as much as they were probably advertised originally. And so they kind of had to redesign it to where they can try to match a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and just predict that the ones that are coming in pretty soon are probably going to outflow the other ones. So my plan is I'm going to build all 3 heads with the current setup. So again, OEM, the new one that's coming in is going to have the NMW valve train setup. And technically, I should be able to go through and with the right setup, measure valve lift between all 3 of them. It's going to be a little bit of a slightly janky setup, but it'll still give us enough information to tell us whether or not we've got greater valve lift between, all 3. Now, obviously, the big thing too is we have to make sure that they're shimmed correctly as well, because valve shimming has something to do with it. So my goal is to go through, I'm going to do middle of the range of what the valve spec is supposed to be for all of them. And then that should be good. So that being said, I have been talking with them. I'm looking forward to that part. You're going to basically send me out I'm still paying for it, but thankfully at a little bit of a discount, which is great. But it means that I get to kind of test it out, see how things actually run, because I know on the US side, there's a lot of questions and comments about it, but there's really not a lot of information on them. So they sell the head kit. It comes with the bigger valves and their larger cam. And we're even talking about doing, from their side, the fire ring. So I would need to get my cylinder sent somewhere and see if they can get that milled to allow for the fire ring. So I'm looking to see, I think there's a machine shop nearby that might be able to. I got to talk to them. And then obviously, as part of their thing, they're saying it's ported as well. The head that I have on my bike's already ported, so it'll be interesting. I'm going to compare how their port is and see how it looked compared to the port job that I did for mine, because that was a while back when I did mine. I didn't port the intake, I only did the exhaust. So I don't know what that means for this setup, because it's going to be set up specifically for the big bore setup. So I guess we'll see when that time comes. They're also going to go ahead and do the slot. And what I mean by that is because, as you guys remember, on here for increased water flow, they actually, you can kind of see it, how they mill it out some more to increase the size. Well, on let me see here. So on here, it's lined up, but if you look on here, not so much, right? That's because it's milled out on both sides, similar to that. That allows increase in water flow both sides. But on the head, they're going to go ahead and do that for me before sending it out. That way I don't have to worry about it and all the work's already done. So pretty excited about that. Looking forward to all that stuff coming in. And then hopefully this winter, getting all this stuff thrown together and test it out and see how things run. So, but that's the update for now. I don't really have too much more until the rest of the stuff gets in, but hopefully when that gets in, we'll start doing some comparisons. I definitely want to test all the cams out against each other and see how they look. I could technically do a review of the cams ahead of time, specifically because, you know, I have, well, no, I can't do the Daniel Crower because they're in the bike. So I'd have to wait until the engine gets pulled out. So, but do you have any questions? As always, definitely feel free to let me know and comment down below. That's it.